Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you're a homeowner in San Diego, and I'm looking specifically at you folks in the 9214 zip code right now, you already know that living here is all about that incredible coastal lifestyle. But well, maintaining the roof that actually protects that lifestyle, that's turned into a bit of a mystery lately, especially when you look at the price tags we're seeing right now. Today, our focus is squarely on demystifying these massive costs associated with roofing in Delmar, California, by digging into the absolute latest market data. We're skipping all the fluff and going straight to the facts, so you know exactly what you are paying for.
Just look at that number. Seriously, 120 grand, maybe even more for a roof replacement as we head into 2026. If you're feeling a massive wave of sticker shock right now, believe me, you are not alone. It is a staggering figure for a residential roof. But over the next few minutes, we're going to figure out exactly why that number exists, what's driving it, and most importantly, how to make sure you aren't paying a premium for a substandard installation.
So here's our roadmap for today's Explainer. 1. The 2026 price shock. 2. The ocean's hidden cost. 3. Materials for your neighborhood. 4. Navigating Delmar red tape. And finally, number 5, making the right investment. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the 2026 price shock and the reality of baseline pricing.
Take a look at these numbers, because the scale here is wild. But honestly, what's missing is just as important. Premium concrete or clay tile on a typical bungalow, that's running between $32,000 and $58,000. Natural slate bumps that up from $55,000 all the way to $90,000. And then you've got copper standing seam, basically the gold standard for blufftop estates, ranging from $65 grand to well over $120,000. Now, did you notice what's missing? Standard composition shingles. You almost never see them on a Delmar quote. Why? Because the starting tier for roofing materials in Delmar is literally where most other San Diego County cities peak. The median home value here is over $3 million, and the community standard just flat out demands materials that match the property. But you know, the price isn't just about looking good.
Which leads us to the real villain of our story in Section 2, the ocean's hidden cost, specifically the salt and marine fog.
Okay, we really need to talk about something called the salt grade specification. Since Delmar is basically hugging the ocean, your roof is constantly getting battered by highly corrosive salt spray and this thick marine fog that just soaks into absolutely everything. A salt grade spec means you absolutely have to use stainless steel or copper flashing instead of the standard galvanized stuff. You need specialized marine grade synthetic underlayment instead of regular roofing felt, and concealed valleys that are actively built to fight off corrosion. And let me be super clear about this. This specification is not optional if you want your roof to actually survive. It's literally the #1 reason costs run so much higher here compared to just a few miles inland.
You can see the stark difference right here. The Inland San Diego standard uses galvanized flashing and standard felt underlayment. And hey, that works perfectly fine in a drier, inland climate. But the Delmar coastal standard, totally different ballgame. It demands stainless or copper flashing and that marine-grade synthetic underlayment. Here's the so what of it all. If a roofer tries to save you a few bucks up front by installing inland-grade materials on a Delmar home, that relentless ocean salt will literally eat your roof from the inside out. The flashing and fasteners will corrode and fail years before the actual expensive tile or slate on top ever gives out. So, spending more for the premium spec on day one, that saves you from a total disaster down the line.
And this coastal vulnerability sits on top of another massive factor, the age of the homes. According to the data, almost 70%, 69.4% to be exact, of Delmar's housing stock was built before 1978. Why does that matter to you? Well, it means a huge chunk of local roofs are sitting on their original framing and original wood decking. So when a pro gets up in your attic before giving you a quote, they aren't just looking at the surface. They're hunting for daylight, water stands, or soft, spongy wood underneath. Finding that hidden rot and structural damage? That's the real wild card that drives up the final scope and pushes costs way beyond just the surface materials.
All right, keeping all that structure and climate stuff in mind, let's move to Section 3, materials for your neighborhood, and how your zip code actually dictates your scope. Depending on where exactly you live in the area, your material needs totally shift. Down in Old Delmar and the Village Core, we're looking at a lot of preservation-grade bungalows. There, premium clay or concrete tile is pretty much the default just to match the original architecture. But move over to the Camino Del Mar Bluffs, you're facing the heaviest salt and moisture exposure in the whole county. That's where copper standing seam becomes essential because it resists that intense corrosion and just develops a gorgeous natural patina over the decades.
Meanwhile, head east to Delmar Mesa, and you've got much newer construction. For these homes, the replacement window hasn't really opened up yet, so the scope here leans heavily toward partial repairs or something called a tile lift and relay.
And actually, speaking of the lift and relay, this is a brilliant cost-saving exception hidden in the numbers. Let's say you have a home where the premium tile on top is still perfectly sound, but the felt underlayment beneath it has degraded and failed. You don't necessarily need to pay for a full replacement. For somewhere between $16,000 to $30,000, a crew can carefully lift your existing tiles, swap out that failed underlayment for the good high-quality marine-grade stuff, and just relay your original tile. It keeps your home's aesthetic intact and completely bypasses the massive material cost of a total tear-off. It's a huge win. Of course, doing any of this work means dealing with City Hall. So let's look at Section 4, navigating Delmar red tape and handling the bureaucracy.
Now, you've got to remember, Delmar is its own incorporated city. Your permits are not going through San Diego County. They run strictly through local City of Delmar review, and if your property happens to be in a coastal commercial or beach overlay zone, the city's design review board is very hands-on. So from day one of submitting your design, you should expect city approval to tack on anywhere from 2 to 6 extra weeks to your timeline. Oh, and if you're in an HOA, go ahead and add weeks 7 and beyond for their separate architectural review. You really have to manage your expectations and build this red tape into your schedule way before you assume a project's start date.
So, how do you navigate all of this and protect your property without getting taken for a ride? Let's turn to our final section, Section 5, making the right investment with contractor bids.
When you're finally ready to start fielding contractor bids, these are the exact tactical steps you absolutely need to take. Step 1, always ask for a detailed written quote. Step 2, demand that they explicitly separate the material costs from the labor costs. And step 3, and honestly, this is the most crucial one for a coastal property, insist that they itemize the salt grade flashing and underlayment upgrades. Seriously, do not accept a single bundled number. You have to demand these line items so you know exactly what grade of protection you're paying for. You definitely don't want to secretly get inland grade materials installed on your blufftop home.
I want to leave you with a rather provocative question as you think about your own property. Is your roof truly built for the bluff, properly fortified with those salt grade specs? Or, hiding beneath those beautiful tiles, is it already failing from the inside out? By demanding transparency and knowing exactly what this harsh coastal climate requires, you're now equipped to inspect your own property's hidden standards and make a really informed decision. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, keep asking the right questions.